trying to get this. Oops, don't want that. This, by the way, just for the record, is something from my Auntie Carmen. She gave me a long time ago. It's a little hand. It's supposed to be like protection or something. It's from Indonesia, I think Bali, and I've had it hanging in my car for since I've had my car, which is some years now. And I just like it. Hope that will stay. You know, I don't even know where my tripod is anymore. I have no idea. Um, as you can see, it's an overcast day, but it is warm. The temperature says 65 in my car, so it's a really warm day. And I was out running a couple of errands. I wasn't going to be out because I had some stuff I wanted to do inside today. It was supposed to be like a work on myself day. I'm going to the gym later on. I'll take my son, but my mother's in town, and so she wanted to run out, and so I went and met her and brought her back home. And anyway, so now I'm out. And so before I go back in and do the things I was going to do, I decided to sit and chill in what I call my office. Those of you who watch these lives from time to time know that I come and I sit by the park, and sometimes I actually walk, but I wasn't really prepared for that at the moment. So I'll have phone calls. I just had a call with a friend and had a couple of calls with friends today, which was good, catching up. And there's always interesting things that come up. And so one of the topics that has come up, not just today, but recently for me, excuse me, for me and some of my friends, is this notion of self-love. Actually, yeah, I'm trying to think, like it's come up over the past few months, I think. It continues to show up in different conversations I'm having with people. So I thought, let me talk about it today. What is self-love and why is it important? How do we show it? How do you know if you're loving yourself, right? And like, let me just say right off the bat, I don't have the answers. Like, it's not written down. My pad right here is blank. I was going to do some writing, which I'll probably still do. I'm not positive. But what I'm discovering and what my friends and I share is that it's absolutely critical to make sure you're okay, right? To put yourself in a position where you are feeling what I would say is like balanced. And I mean, happy is kind of general because it's like, well, how do you, if you don't feel happy, how do you make yourself feel happy to demonstrate self-love? I don't know. So that could be kind of circular. But I think I think you have to spend some time identifying, right? What does that mean? How do I feel if you just take like pie in the sky random, how do I know if I'm feeling self-love? What would that feel like to me? You get to decide. So maybe it means you feel peaceful. Maybe it means you feel like you're laughing more often, or I don't know, you look better physically, you feel better, you're sleeping better, you are taking care of your body, you're spiritually connected to whatever source, however you identify that, whatever your spiritual practice is. Your money feels good, so you're not stressed about money. I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can define how you are loving yourself, right? That you're taking care of the needs that are important to you. And so I think, yeah, I think that's how I would define self-love, right? Making sure that you, specifically you, are doing the things that make you feel good in those different areas of your life. And so what happens then, and it's a whole process of understanding this, right? But what I am understanding is that as you do that, the other like superfluous stuff that comes up in life where we feel triggered and challenged and annoyed and all of that becomes less triggering and annoying and challenging because we are we're practicing fulfilling our own needs. So again, spiritual, physical, relational, all the things, right? So that I like balance. I'm a Libra, so that we tend to find and maintain some level of balance. And when you have that, and if you don't like the idea of balance, maybe it's like internal peace, right? You're not getting annoyed and pissed off. Your life doesn't get disrupted by like something somebody said to you, some offhand comment, or whatever situation you may be experiencing on the regular, or something just random that happens to you. You get to maintain your peace, your status quo, whatever, wherever you feel comfortable in life, you get to maintain that. Yeah, regardless of what's happening. It's not easy. It's not always easy. Because, like, I consider myself a really peaceful, chill person most of the time. Like, by and large, most of the time, I'm pretty easygoing. I definitely don't start anything. I'm not looking for garbage. I'm not looking for trash and shit in my life. I try to avoid it. But still, it happens sometimes. Stuff will come up, and it'll just kind of grate, or it could be a sudden annoyance or like a slow burn kind of thing. And so the good news about this is that when I've noticed this recently, because I've had all these conversations about self-love lately, I'm paying attention. I'm like, okay, so what's going on? So for example, let's say you have a conversation with somebody that just annoys you, that's just rubbing you the wrong way. I mean, it could even be like political stuff, because I'm in the DC area now, right? And so there's so many people talking about all this political stuff, and I don't like to engage in that because I don't feel like it's particularly useful. Um, yeah, that it's doing any good. And so if I feel myself getting agitated by that, or something maybe more personal, I can check in and go, okay, like how do I manage that? How does self-love help me manage that in the moment? Right? Because it may seem completely unrelated. It may seem like politics is totally unrelated to self-love. But what I would suggest, what I would offer or consider, is that if I'm in a situation where I'm feeling triggered by a conversation or by something a person is doing, and I feel myself getting sucked into it and I don't want to get sucked into it, then it's like not engaging, right? Number one, I'm not going to have the conversation with you. I'm not going to talk about this person, this political person, or what somebody said, or what happened last week at work, or I'm not going to engage in that. And instead, I may shift the conversation. Hi, you guys, I see you saying hi. I may shift the conversation to something that I feel is more like uplifting, or let's say I can't, if you're, let's say in a job situation and someone's talking about office politics or something that's kind of annoying me, but maybe you find petty, but you can't really totally switch and talk about the weather because that would seem odd. Maybe you just bring up a positive aspect of what's happening at work, right? Rather than totally switching it over and sounding kind of like, what is she's coming out of left field with that, out of the blue topic. Maybe you just offer something positive about, well, yeah, but I noticed that so-and-so Maria, actually, she always has a smile on her face. I don't know, whatever. But in other words, you shift it away from the negative stuff into like something that can be more useful, at least to you. And I would say the objective is not to get everybody else on board. That's not the point. The point is making sure that you are finding a balance and peace within yourself. And so, and understand, I'm really thinking through this as I talk about it now, because it takes practice. It's easy to say it in the abstract, but when it happens to you, it's not so easy, you know? At least sometimes I think it's not. I think it depends upon how closely related you are to the person. I don't mean necessarily like related by blood. I mean related in whatever way. Like if you have if you have to have a close relationship with a person by necessity, whatever that might be, it could be a lot more difficult to switch into a positive conversation if you've got to deal with that person, and let's say that person's just always really negative, or they always want to talk about just gossip, or stuff like that. It can be a little more challenging to find ways to shift away from that. But yes, I am in the DMV. Hello. So someone suggested to me just recently, like if you're in a car with someone and they're, you're driving along, okay, I have like an hour left with this person in the car, 10 minutes, and they're like picking at you or talking about something that you don't want to go into, maybe you shift into like, what, this is really good. What does the person say? Like an audiobook I was listening to, check this out, and like put that on, which I thought was funny. Or whatever. But I think the bottom line is that, the more we love ourselves, the more we show people how to love us, how to be around us. And like I said, again, I had a conversation with someone just the other day where this person was talking about people in their family. Well, thank you. People in their family and friends and family who they have had to basically kind of disconnect from because there was, I think it was like envy, jealousy, just some like backbiting, just drama, just straight up drama. And they're like, I'm not going to deal with that because it takes me out of my peace, out of my balance, all of that. And having worked really hard to work on our own stuff and achieve a place of peace and feeling good in general, who wants to get sucked into someone else's mess because they're tripping on some bullshit, to put it plainly. Yeah, we don't have time for that. Redirect them. Thank you, Yogi Mac. Exactly. You redirect. And if people aren't willing to be redirected, then it's like, if you can, like if you're in a situation where you can just cut it off and be like, okay, well, I'll talk to you later or not, then you do that. I mean, and sometimes I do think it comes down to removing people from your life. And I don't, it just could just be like cutting them off. I remember a situation many, many years ago where I was in a relationship with someone and I knew it was coming to the end of it because you know how early on in a relationship you can be like, no, that's not what I said. And you said this and blah, blah, and you go back and forth and it's like on and on. You keep in this cycle of like, there's conflict but you're engaging in it and you may feel like you're totally right. The other person feels like they're right or whatever. Sometimes it's gaslighting, who knows? But at this point I was like, I'm seeing the writing on the wall. Like, I don't want to play the game anymore. And so he came and started talking to me about, I don't even know what it was, but I knew because I could see the pattern by then, right? Excuse me. And I knew that, what's up, Aaron? What's up? I knew by then that this was going to be the pattern. It was designed to get me involved in some trash, some BS, some drama. Like, I was not having it. And so I just did not engage at all. Like, I didn't say anything. I let him go on and on and on about whatever it was. At a certain point, if you just don't give something energy, if you don't feed a thing, it's going to die. If you don't water a plant, sooner or later it's going to die. If you don't feed your children, heaven forbid, people can't thrive without some type of energy being given to them. So I just refused to give it energy. And because I couldn't just leave the situation, we were living together, right? I couldn't just walk out in that moment. I did walk out later, packed my stuff, and I rolled up out of there. But in the moment, I couldn't. So I just didn't give it energy. And sure enough, he went away and did his thing. Now he came back a few minutes later and tried it again, but still I was like, I'm just not engaging. And so whether you're able to redirect, as you said, Yogi Mac, or just stop, just stop, just not feed into the drama. I think that's a part of it. I see it almost like as being in a bubble sometimes, where if like you're in your little bubble of peace and you're feeling good and your mind is on positive things and all that, and then somebody comes from some other place and is bringing some conflict or some dissonance or what have you, chaos into it, you stay in your bubble. Stay in your bubble. Hi everybody, I'm doing fine, thank you. Yeah, and so then what happens? So then I think that is an act of self-love, right? Because you're not allowing yourself to be sort of drained or pulled down, I'll say, by someone else's stuff, whatever the stuff is. If it's just general negativity, if it's wanting to talk about, let's say, something from the past that really you feel is not relevant, or is just kind of stirring the pot on some old stuff. There's no real positive benefit to what they're doing or saying. Yeah, then you love yourself by not engaging, right? You save your own mental well-being by not engaging in stuff like that. And so then I guess in a way it does become a lesson. Like somebody was saying to me, yeah, you teach people how to love you by how you love yourself, right? And you can read, this stuff shows up in all kinds of literature that you can read. But I think the way that it does that is that there's not a window of opportunity for people to start stuff with you. Now, not that it would be directly with you, like aimed at you, directed at you, but just you being part of that conversation of negativity and stuff like that. I think that's what it is. And then it's also self-love because you are preserving your own well-being. I think for me, that's the biggest part of it. You're preserving your own well-being. Honestly, the other people become secondary, tertiary, whatever, because that's the focus is not about them. It's not about the other person. Everything is us, right? That's what my friend was saying to me today. She was like, the focus is always you. The focus and the answer, it's always you. Like, what are you doing in the situation to either participate in it or to manage it or to step away from it. Like, how do you handle whatever it is that's going on? I was like, ooh, good one, right? Because it's true. It's always us. Even if someone else you could be sitting like, oh, on a log meditating, and someone else comes and throws a rock at you, and you're like, what? I didn't start that. Right. But it's on you as to like, how do you manage that? Now, you just keep letting people throw rocks at you? No. Maybe you have to get up and, say something to the person. Maybe you move to another bench. Like, I don't know what the answer is exactly, but the point is not continuing to participate in a situation that's not healthy for you, not something that you want to be involved in. I think that might be it. I think that might be my message. Like I said at the beginning, I don't have all the answers. I'm not an expert, but this keeps coming up. Like I'm telling you, for the past several months, this topic, this self-love thing has been coming up as a way to really like to create the life that you want broadly, really broadly. Yeah, to create what you want. And I think it helps to just be really, really focused on yourself. And it sounds like a bad kind of selfish, but I don't mean it like that. And I don't think it is a bad kind of selfish. I think the more that you get really intentional about what's good for you and put you in the best possible, hang on. Can you guys hear me? Can you tell me if you can hear me? Can somebody do a thumbs up? Because I don't have you connected to my Bluetooth. Hello? Can you hear me? Holla if you hear me. Can I get a thumbs up? Something? Maybe you don't hear me. I don't know. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Let me plug this in. Let's see if this works. Thank you. You can hear me. Yeah, people try to rope you in.